This conference will now be recorded.
Hi guys, good evening. This is Suresh here.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening guys. Okay, so guys, in our session today, we are supposed to start looking towards business rules, multiple concepts of business rules, multiple use cases of business rules is what we are going to start with. So in that regard, yeah, before that, any specific questions from anyone before we start with today's topic? Anyone? Guys, if anybody is not speaking, just please make sure you are on mute. Just getting some background noise. Okay, so now in this employee profile, yesterday, as I've just given you an theoretical overview at the end of the session, whenever we are trying to change the employee location, the time zone should be automatically updated respect to that location, whatever is a time zone. So example, job information level, you have that location. So here, I currently have the location as Boston, for that the time zone is US Eastern. Now if I change the location to Cleveland, system is going to update the time zone as America/Chicago. It's a other time zone. The previous one is GMT plus 4. Now this is GMT 5. That is it. Automatically based on the change of the location, system automatically changes the time zone. Sorry, anybody speaking? Okay, so when we change this location, system got its time zone updated automatically. So for that is where we can start making use of the business rules. So how will business rule even get to know where should I get the time zone? You select whatever location you want here. For that location, whatever is a time zone, how should system be able to find it is? So we have the place where we create all these foundation objects, guys. That is the location basically. That is the manage org page of structures. Whenever you're creating a new location, if you remember, we also maintain the time zone of that location. For every location, we maintain the time zone. So if I pick the location drop down, so any location you pick randomly, system will show the time zone of that location here. So already in the master level, you have maintained it. So this time zone is what system has to pick it. Employee level, if I choose Atlanta, Atlanta's time zone. Employee level, if I pick Chicago, Chicago's time zone. Like that, from this master, system has to pick it. Okay, so that will happen through the business rule. So for that, we can go for configure business rules, a place where we write the business rules. So I'm just going to the business rules screen. Configure business rules. So whenever we are writing a new rule, first thing is we need to have the base object of that rule. So now I'm going to write a logic on the location field. So when I start writing a rule, can anybody tell me what should be the base object selected for this rule? Anyone? What should be the base object for this rule? How will we determine a base object, guys? As per the previous examples of address change workflow, job information portlet level event reasons that we have written, what is the basis? Choose the base object. So your base object will be, sorry.
Yeah, hi Suresh. If we don't have a fast date on this, then we can select the normal base object, right? We don't have to choose the model one.
Yeah, that's model or normal one is a secondary question. First of all, what is the object, base object? Which object? They go for address model, job information model, information model. What is that?
Location.
Okay, should I choose a base object location? Do you mean to say this? Location, should I type and search for?
Right. Right.
Okay, so let me correct this. Basically, whenever you're trying to write any conditions on the employee profile related things, so whichever field you're planning to write a condition on which portlet is that field, that should be the base object. So on the previous something on address fields, that's in the address portlet we have taken the base object as address. Similarly for event
Right.
reason, whenever division changed, department changed and all, we had event reason derivation. For that we have taken job information. Similarly, now location field is again the part of the job information portlet. So you are supposed to take the base object as job information.
Job information model.
Yeah, job information is the first question. So is the first level. Now among this, in the job information and model, what to be picked is, so whenever there is a change in the location, somebody is changing the location, you need to know that. Okay, so as per our previous understanding, whenever there is a change, to identify that there is a change, so by comparing with the previous record, we should be able to identify the change. But here the logic is, if you observe the behavioral, that's why I first executed and shown it to you. If you see the behavior in that previous logic, whatever rule that you write, you are going to make the change. Whatever change you want to make, you make the change, and you're finally clicking on save, where on save is what system is going to trigger the rule. Okay, so I'll just show you that. So now here, normally whatever change you do, finally if you click on save button, rule is getting triggered. So when that rule is getting triggered, when you click on save, it can compare with the current value on the screen, last value in the database, all that. But now the behavior is different. As soon as you choose the location, system is immediately triggering a business rule, and it is updating the time zone of that new location. That means you are not required to identify that there is a change. System will understand. In this field, whenever you are entering anything, it is a field level rule that we are writing, a field level rule. So here you can directly go with the plain job information. You need not go with the model version. Okay, even why is that also you will get to know. So whatever is a rule that you're now going to write, you will choose the normal version. You need not require the model version. So job information is what you can pick and you can start the rule. So why is that is, in the business configuration, this time I am not going to assign the rule in the on save. It's not on save. At a field level itself, I'll write the rule. I'll assign the rule. Location field level, where field level system, the fields will understand is there a change, really data change or not. Fields will understand. The complete portlet will understand only if you write a comparison logic, but fields will automatically know in their field is there any change or not. So how is that found is, in a field level, when you want to assign a rule, you can go to the details. Under details we have these attributes, mandatory, you have visibility, masking, field length, all that. If you go to the extreme bottom, we also have a place where we can assign the rules, guys. So here the event is on change, exactly SF has already given on change as an event. So when you use this event, system has a capability of tracing, is there a change in the data in that field or not. As soon as you keep the cursor and you enter some values in that field, either you are deleting the complete entry which is already there in the screen. So either you are, say example, you are just uh, clicking on backspace and you are cleaning it up, or else you are completely choosing another field from the drop down. Whatever change in the data you are saying on change as an event, system will automatically understand there is a change and this rule will be triggered. So when system can automatically understand the logic, you need not choose the job information model. It's only the job information, the normal one is good to go here. So whenever the rule that you're going to assign is at a field level, system, you can just use the normal version. Model version you need not give. If it is that a portlet level you are supposed to give that rule, then you are required to go for the model version, compare the old data with the new data, all that. Okay, So that is how now the plain job information will go to go. And so let me just give it as custom time zone auto populate. Go for continue. So now if the if condition, what is the if condition? If there is a value in location, anything, it might be Mumbai or it might be Paris, whatever location. So whenever if job information level location field, the location field, okay, if it is not equal to blank, blank means at the bottom you have the last one as null. So whenever the location field level input is not equal to blank, that is there is some input. If you feel that there is some input in that field, immediately you set the time zone against that location. So job information dot, all the fields are alphabetically sorted here. So job information dot time zone to be equal to, here now you are required to go to the foundation object and bring the time zone. So for that location, what is already present in the employee level, so that job information level, portlet level, what is the location of the employee, in that location if you expand, the foundation object fields will appear here. First job information, more job information portlet level, what are the fields. Now if location is a field, for that location what are the other attributes, foundation object related. So that location's time zone, in the employee job information, what is the location, that location's time zone is what you are trying to assign here. So set the job information time zone as location's time zone. What is that location? Whatever is the job information level location. That is a way, a simple rule you can assign it. So this way we can refer to the foundation object level fields also, and we can pull the data. So now once we save this rule, so using this rule you can actually excuse me, using this rule you can actually assign it at the portlet level. So custom tz.auto whatever I've written, job information as a base object, and the event, only possible event at a field level is on change. You've assigned it, click on done. Go to the extreme bottom, save the portlet. So field level you have assigned the rule, and portlet you are making a change again. I mean you are saving the change what has been done in this portlet level now. And once the save is done, you can recheck the same way. Similar change of time zone will even occur with our rule also. Previously there is a rule and its function. Now I changed the rule with our rule what we have written. Even that will also give the same result. So it's saved. Now I'll close this portlet and reopen the transaction. So now when I make a change in the location field, whatever will be the rule logic that will be triggering is as per the new rule that I have assigned now, overriding the existing rule. So March 19th, whatever it can be, any date, past dated, future dated, current date, anything. So now again the same way how it triggered previously. Now if I choose Cleveland, Cleveland related location is going to be updated here, America/Chicago. Previously it is US/Eastern. So this is how, based on the data in one field, the data in the other field getting updated, we can use, you can call it as a propagation concept when the triggering point is a foundation object. As I told you yesterday, whenever the triggering point, when location change something is updating, if the triggering point is a foundation object, we call it as propagation. Particular, we give it proper name to that concept as propagation. End of the day, we just say normally if you speak in simple words, it's a business rule logic. But for foundation object level, they have given it a topic name as propagation. Okay, and the destination field can be anything, guys. Time zone is not a foundation object. Destination can be anything, but the triggering point should be the location. I mean the foundation object. Okay, so that is the way we have this concept of propagation. One more thing, another example for this: whenever you select a company, when you are hiring an employee, you are selecting a company, we can have the location of the employee getting auto populated also. How can we do that is because in the manage data, if you go for manage data, the place where we create the legal entities. So any legal entity I pick. So first, let me choose the legal entity. So any legal entity you pick randomly. In a legal entity level, we have a field called default location. If you assign this default location, when you are hiring against Western Italy, I can bring this default location as employee location. Similarly, if I am hiring against India, for India, whatever is the default location you have kept, I can auto-populate it. But that doesn't mean that every employee should be of that location only, but it's a default one that will save the time of the user to give some input in it. If you feel like, say example, in India when I'm hiring, I kept the default location as Mumbai here, and employee level it became Mumbai. But if you feel the hiring is actually for Kolkata, you can still override it, you can still change it. Okay, so that is how we have another example. If you choose legal entity, location getting updated is also one more reason for propagation we can take. Okay, so that way we can have the propagation concept. The main thing that you learn here is assigning of a rule even at a field level, not every time at a portlet level only, field level. And field level, when you're assigning the rule, the only possible event type is on change, an important certification question. On change is the only event type that you will have at a field level rules. Okay, and now moving on, the next example is, say we go for add new employee, guys. So on the employee hiring screen, whenever you're going for employee hiring, add new employee, so here whenever I enter a date of birth, if I'm entering an employee date of birth as just yesterday's date, that means it's yesterday's date means he's a 1 day kid, 1 day infant. So you can't hire an employee whoever has age as less than 18 years. This kind of errors you can trigger. So I just took an example on date of birth field. Like this kind of various validation errors, you can write it on any field of the people profile in any portlet. How can we have these kinds of errors triggered? How can system know the logic of calculating the age? So if you give the March 18, 2021, how system understood that it is less than 18 years? That age calculation rules is what we'll now look at. So for that, guys, now if I have to write a rule on this age calculation on the date of birth field, what should be the base object of my rule? The base object of my business rule?
Employee information.
Employee information. Why you are seeing this biographical information,
Oh
right? Why
yeah,
employee?
biographical. Yeah, sorry.
See, whichever portlet the field is there, that portlet itself is your base object. Okay. Say now here, go for creation of a new rule. Basic. Biographical. In biographical, now the question is again, is that normal version or the modal version? Biographical information model, two things. So for this again, now if you see this, as per the learning in which order we are learning this, if you compare with that, whenever I am changing the value in this field, immediately rule is getting triggered. Okay, that means as per the previous example I told, it is on change. At a field level we are going to assign the rule what you are going to give, and field level means you need not go with the comparison of previous value and all, you can go with the normal process. But again there is a catch here, but even if there is no necessity of comparing with the previous value here, you are required to go with the modal version. The reason why here in this I go for a modal version, even if I don't have a necessity of comparing with the previous data is, so biographical information model, Now the point is, whenever the age is less than 18, you have to throw the error. So throwing an error is the then part. Checking if the less than, if they whether the age is less than 18 or greater than 18, checking that is in the if condition. If the age is less than 18, then throw the error. If age is greater than 18, then nothing to do. So that if condition level, you are required to check the age. So age, if it has to be checked, first you need to calculate the age. So for calculating the age, you are required to use some functions. So whenever we just click on this drop down normally, whatever is a portlet we have taken, that portlet related fields are what that will be coming here in the list. But this time, one more thing that you are required to recognize is you collapse this portlet. At the bottom there are functions. Even in all the other business rules that we have written till now also, it is there. So first the portlet related fields are coming. We are writing conditions on this. We are not looking at the bottom. But if you once collapse this portlet fields and you look at the bottom, there are multiple functions to perform different calculations, different things. You have different functions. In that, we have a function called difference in calendar years. Using this function, difference in calendar years, means that is a function that will basically help you to find the number of years gap between the two dates what you enter. From which date to which date you want me to subtract. That is, the from date is from the employee entered date of birth. Whatever is the date of birth that the employee entered. So date of birth dot value. So whatever is the employee entered date of birth, when employee's date of birth till today. So we have a function called today at the ending. Today. So between the date of birth value and today, so whatever you enter between these two, whatever is the age, system will calculate if that is less than 18, like this. If the difference between calendar years of the employee date of birth entered on the screen and today's date, if that is less than 18 years, then you raise me an error message. So that thing here, then you are going to not use set this time. Raise message as another function we'll be using, guys. So that's one more. Till now we use set only. One more example is on raise message. So using this raise message, whatever is a message that you want to trigger, we can create that messages first and we can call them here. So I'll show you creation of each, but before that, let me see if there is any already rule. Age error age less than 18 years. Yeah. So this is some message that has been already created in the previous session sometime. So that is a message I have selected. So what is the message text in that object? System is giving me a preview. Error age less than 18 years is what it is just throwing. You can give it whatever text you want. Okay. So, and this message, how it should be triggered is that should be coming as just a information message, or a warning message, or error. For information and warning, you can even skip that and go forward, guys. But error means you have to correct it, then only system will allow you to go forward. That is the way you can have the error message, which will stop you from going further without correcting it that way. So this is the condition. To use this function, to have this function available, we use the model version. So I'm not comparing the old value and previous value. I want the model version only because I want this function. In the normal version, this function is not available. There are few functions in the normal version also, but in the model version, it will definitely have an extended things. All these functions will be there. So whenever, as per logic, you first start with in the real time, you need not by heart all these guys. In the real time, you start your rule. Because I don't want to compare, I start with biographical information. When I started it, when I'm looking at the logic, I'm not able to get this function, then I'll give it a try with model version and I'll check. In the model version, if I'm able to get this function, I'll use the model version. Okay, model version will solve many cases what are not able to be done through the basic version. Okay, so we can start it. You need not by heart this. For this thing, I have to use model version. For this thing, I have to use normal version. You need not by heart. So basic understanding is what you want to require. So with that, you start with the normal or the model. If you find your logic, you are not able to fulfill with that object, to take the other one. Okay, so that is the way. So even initial days when we write it, as per the logic, I need not compare it. So I used to take the biographical. When I choose the normal biographical, I did not get this function. So then if I choose the model, I'm getting this function. That is a learning. That is how we get to learn the things. Okay, and here I used one function. Like this, you have multiple functions in the drop down when you saw it. So all these functions related. I also shared one guide, guys. Last time when I shared you the documents on workflows, event reasons, all that around 6 to 7 documents. In that there is one of the attachment called business rules. How the business rules can be used in each and every business rule. What are the different functions we have? The purpose and meaning of each function. So all that are explained. All these various things. Okay. So we need not even by heart all functions. So in the real time, we normally refer that guide. So if I want some kind of behavior, with the keywords, I'll search if there is any function that will help me in this. So that way, we can find the relevant functions. So this is how you write a rule. Now, where is this message created? Error, age is less than 18 years, that message is. It's actually an MDF object. That message is actually an MDF object. So in the managed data, here if you search for message definition, oh sorry, here I have to search message definition as a object we have, guys. In this there are multiple messages that are defined in the system across different areas, different solutions. As standard has given many things. Among that, any message you take, that will have some text. So even this age related, there are, I guess there are multiple age related. There are multiple. If I take anything, example, the text is this: error, age less than 18 is the text, whatever you want on the front end. So like that, you can create your own message definition also as per your requirement. Whatever customer wants to have the text, you type your text. So minimum age of employment is 18 years. Like this, I want to have a text. I can give it and some cust underscore age underscore mar is the code and the name for that. I have given some naming. Let's save it. So with this code, you have this text ready. So this code is what you're required to call in your rule. So custom age March. Copy this code. In the rule, you call that. So we call that message here. System will change the text. Minimum age of employment is 18 years as the text what I've given there. So this is how you can go to the manage data and work with this message definition object, create whatever text you want and call that in the rule like this. So we are raising a message and that too as an error. That is a way. So this thing you can assign it at a field level. Whenever I make a change in the employee date of birth level, immediately system is triggering it. That means field level I have to assign this rule. So this rule, copy it. Where do I have to go and assign it, guys? Anybody? Where should I go and assign this rule to? Which screen I have to go? Which object I have to go?
Biographical information.
Sorry?
Biographical information.
Yeah, okay, biographical information is the portlet. And which screen I have to do it? Which screen? I have to go to manage data and do it?
Manage this configuration.
Excellent.
No,
manage business configuration.
Yeah. Yeah.
Manage business configuration level. Go for the biographical information portlet. So among these portlets on the left hand side which are listed, can anyone tell me which is the biographical information? Just take your time. Look at these. What is the biographical information?
Personal info.
So we have two things, personal info and person info. So personal info is basically pertaining to the personal details portlet, the personal information portlet, personal info, which is not our requirement. Personal information comes up here, not this. Person info is another portlet that will speak about the biographical information. The technical name of biographical information is person info. Remember that. Okay. So here in the date of birth field, at a field level, I am required to assign the rule. So here on the field level, here I can assign it. Biographical information model is what it's already chosen, and there is already a previous rule. I can replace it with my rule, whatever I've written, and save it. So now once this is done, save at the portlet level also. Once you save it, and next time when you see it on the portlet level, The same way, whenever you enter anything, age, even if it is 2020, when you enter 2015, it's just 6 years. It's just a 6 years kid. Even then, it's an error. It will throw the error message. Minimum age of employment is 18 years. The what I have given, this is a new text. Minimum age of employment is 18 years. The new text what I have given now, that is coming. So this is how today what we saw is examples of two things. One is assigning a rule at a field level. Second thing, using functions. Third thing, calling error messages or any messages. So three things we learn in these two examples. Okay, so that is how these rules function. And next, so in a rule level, whenever field level, when you are assigning a rule, the only event type that you have is on change. Not here. Date of birth, if I go, so it's on change is the only event you have. But in a portlet level, when you are assigning the rule, guys, here in the portlet level, if you are assigning the rule, so you have multiple events. So there are 5, out of which 4 will be applicable for us: on save, on init, on view, and save init. These 4 are applicable for us. On that on save, we already saw a couple of examples for workflow work derivation, for event reason derivation. We already saw whenever in the portlet level somebody is clicking on save button, then only that rule is getting triggered. That's clear. Now let us take an example of on init. On init means on initializing. On init means on initializing is what they say. So on initialize is nothing but when the screen is opening. Initializing means when the screen is getting generated. So now I just search for add new employee, guys. Here I just search for add new employee. I click on the add new employee. When I click on it, system is going to open this page. It's generating this page. It's opening that page. That is where technically they call it as initializing. Opening a page is called initializing. So when that area is getting initialized, if you want any logics, when the screen is displaying itself, if you want to have a logic to auto populate anything, auto populate any information. Okay, say example, if I want to auto populate employee first name or middle name or last name, anything. Example. Obviously will not get a requirement to auto populate the names, but example. So then on init is where by the time the screen is opening up itself, if you want to some logic to be triggered, this is the event type you will use. When user clicks on save, if a rule to be triggered, this is the one on save. When the system is opening the screen itself, if the rule has to be triggered, I'll keep on in it and I'll assign my rule whatever has to be used. For that purpose, so go to the business rules. Let's take the example of that only. Say example, the middle name has to be auto populated. So for that, create new rule. So now I want to write a logic to auto populate the middle name. So what can be the base object now? Anybody? Modal or other one, leave it. At least tell me the portlet. What should be the portlet for middle name?
Identity. No, name information. Sorry. Name.
Okay, name information is a subheading SF gives like this in the hiring level, but actually first name, middle name, last name, all these are the fields of the personal information portlet. In the personal info, you have employee first name, middle name, last name, his gender, marital status, all that. For the front end representation, SF gives that subheading and they design that screen, but actually that field belongs to the personal information portlet. Here, the employee last name, first name, middle name, all this. So you are required to pick personal information as the base object. Okay. Now, personal information means, excuse me. Yeah, personal information. So here in the personal information, my requirement is just to set some value. Okay, it's not to compare and all. So let me try with a normal version. So here even I don't know, guys. I am just randomly taking an example. Let's see. As per the analysis, normally I don't want to compare anything. Automatically system has to auto set something. So I did not have a requirement of comparing. So not going for the model, going for the normal one. Let's see will that work or not. So that is custom auto middle name underscore match something. Okay, so now set, continue. This time I did not have any condition. If this happens, then you set. If this did not happen, then you don't set. I'm not having any condition. Anyone opens the add new employee, the middle name has to be auto-populated. Say that means I did not have any if condition. If you don't have any if condition, particularly to write a logic and check, you have an here option, other option called always true. So when you go for always true, gentlemen, system will not ask you any condition. Whenever this rule triggers, without checking any condition, it will go to the then. In the then, whatever you are telling us to do, you are telling us to trigger a workflow, you are asking us to calculate something, throw error message, whatever, I can do it. So now then level, I want to set. What I want to set? I want to set the employee's middle name. What should be the middle name? I will give some sample as a text, something. That's it. So this is where, irrespective of any condition, whenever this rule got triggered, get this field get auto-populated as sample. That's it. So here something new learning is, in a situation where you don't have any particular reason, I don't have any reason, but whenever this rule got triggered, I want this to happen. That is what you have done. So when will this rule trigger? First of all, is what you are assigning at the business configuration level. So now, should I assign this rule at any field level or at a portlet level? Make some guess. Should I assign this rule at any field level or at a portlet level? That is where the logical thinking comes, guys. The point is, example, if you think field level, say middle name, anything, the only event what we have is on change. That means whenever there is a data change, only system will trigger these rules what are at a field level. But now my requirement is not data change. Anytime the screen is opening up, I want that rule to be triggered. So screen triggering means initializing. Initialize is an event I only have at a portlet level, not at a field level. So let us assign this rule by personal information is the base object I have taken, on init as the rule, and here the event is on init, and the rule that we have written is something with ending with March, auto populate middle name. That's it. Save it. It's just a logical thinking. Why should I assign at a field level or why at a portlet level? So I want my rule to be triggered when the screen is opening. Screen is opening means event is on init. On init is an event available only at a portlet level, at the end of the portlet, not at a field level. So I assigned it at the end of the portlet. Once this is saved now, if we reopen the add new employee, currently in the add new employee there is no middle name. So if I go for again add new employee screen, this time if I choose this option, system will reload this page with middle name should be auto populated and shown with that word as sample whatever I've entered. See this. So the system automatically, by the screen is getting generated itself, initializing itself. That logic got triggered, and sample is a word that got added here, and that got defaulted here. So that is the purpose of on init as an event. Whenever you want something to be triggered, some logic to be triggered, when the screen is getting opened itself on init. Okay. Next. Now we have taken example on personal information portlet. We have taken one on biographical, one on job information, one on address details, multiple portlets, different examples I'm giving. So let us take one more example on compensation information portlet. Compensation. So what can be expected on compensation information portlet this time? The other scenario we are required to check is how is on view used? How will on view be used? So for that, the example I can give you is, say you're opening an employee's profile, guys. Say Anya Singh's profile you're opening, and you're going to view the profile. You're going to see the profile. You're not going to edit. By the time the screen is getting generated now, you're just going to view it. Personal information, I'm viewing it. Compensation information, if I go, I'm just going to view this. Compensation whatever screen comes up here, I'm going to view the data. That's it. So by the time I'm trying to view this data, if some logic has to trigger and something has to happen here, either auto populating or I want to hide this field completely. I want to hide this field. Say example, E is eligible for car is a information which is present. Okay. But when any user is basically coming to this portlet and they are trying to see, just they want to view this portlet, this field should not appear. But when we are trying to edit this portlet and maintain the information, that field should be there. But when we are viewing this, that field should not be there. So now you are able to see this E is eligible for car as a field. Now we can assign a rule such that we will tag that rule with on view. Whenever user is coming to view that portlet itself, that field should be hidden. Hiding the field dynamically. So that is where, again, let's go for business rule. Create a new rule. Again, base object. What is the base object, gentlemen? Tell me the portlet first. Should I show the screen again?
Compensation.
Exactly. Compensation is the portlet. Compensation, basically information. Compensation information is the portlet. So base object, compensation information are the model. Now what to be used? Again, a question. Now, normally, I again don't have a reason for any comparison of data and all. So I normally go with the normal version. But again, here the requirement is to go with the model version. Why should we go for model version? Till now, to go for model version, two reasons you have is, one is to compare with the previous value, or else if you need any additional functions in the base object, in the normal object, if there are if all the functions are not available, we'll use the model version. That is what in the age calculation we have done. Personal information model is what we have taken. A biographical information model is what we have taken to make use of that function. So that are the two reasons, comparing with the previous value and for any additional functions to be available, we use the model version. That one more third option. There are total 4 reasons why should we go for model option. The third one is if you are required to play with the visibility of the fields. Visibility. That visibility as an attribute to be used, model version is required. In the basic version, visibility will not be available. Now I show you that. So let's cast underscore on view underscore some March. Continue. So now again, I don't want any condition. The example, we can have a condition, but let me take an example. I don't want any condition. When this rule triggers, whatever I write in the if condition, that has to be triggered. So I'm just keeping it as always true. I don't want any specific conditions now. But what has to happen when this rule trigger is, you are required to set the compensation information model level. There is eligible for car as a field. If you expand this, for this field, you have visibility as an attribute. If this attribute has to be set as visibility equal to none in XML, whatever we give, that is the value. If visibility equal to none, such that the field should not appear. So for using this visibility as an attribute, we need this model version, guys. In the normal version, this visibility visibility as an attribute, you will not have it. So not only visibility. So as we know already, all these 3 things, guys. I go for eligible for car at any field level. So visibility required, and one more thing is previous value. Even to make use of the previous value as an indicator, also you need model version. For visibility also you need model version, and required if you want to dynamically play with the mandatory conditions. So when you select this field, the other field should become mandatory. Make another value in this field, the system should automatically remove that mandatory condition. Then for playing with the mandatory conditions, required as an attribute. So for required attribute, you model version. I'll also take you an example of it. Let us now check the visibility. So visibility none. I'm setting the field's visibility as none. Save it. Now this rule, what we say, should be connected with the portlet compensation. So whether is this field should be, is this to be tagged at a field level, or at a portlet level? Anyone? Field level or portlet level? So the logic, whatever I told itself, is on view. Whenever somebody is viewing the portlet, so view the function, you only have an option to assign it a portlet level. Field level on view is not there, only on change is there. So now using on view, compensation information, not information, it's model, information model, on view as an event, and that rule what we have given. Let us assign that rule. That's it. Save this. So now whenever you're trying to view the portlet, there is a difference between view and init, guys. On init means whenever you're opening the screen in an editable mode. Whenever you're opening the screen in an editable mode, on init will trigger. Just you're scrolling to that area to view the data in a read-only mode, that is where on view will be triggering. Now if I click on the edit symbol and the screen is going to open, the pop-up is going to open, say, now during this time on init as a rule will trigger. On init event will be having its significance here. But just by the time I am scrolling to this portlet itself, if some logic has to be triggered, that is what we call it as on view. So now, as of now, on view level, you have this is eligible for car as a field visible. Now let me refresh this page. Once this page is refreshed, and I'll click on that compensation section, system will now automatically scroll to that compensation page. So now when the system is trying to show me, then now it is loading, it's trying to show me the data here. Now immediately he is eligible for car is field, that field is missing. Just below this, he is eligible for benefit, he is eligible for car as one more field has to appear, it's not appearing. That is the way. Just to view the data when the system is opening the when the system is displaying this, so immediately that rule will trigger. That is on view. On view. So like this, we have on save, on init, on view at portlet level, and on change at a field level. Different scenarios. And one last thing that we are required to look at is save alert. Portlet level, you have one thing called save alert, guys. Save alert is one more interesting concept where whenever you are going to have any alerts to be triggered, that is, say example, you have entered the employee's probation confirmation date, okay, as 30th of March. Employee joined on Jan 1st. Your company follows 3 months probation policy. So 30th or 31st of March is the last date. If we have a logic that 2 weeks before the probation confirmation date, HR should get a notification, or 1 week before the probation confirmation date, HR or manager, anybody should get an alert notification saying that within 1 week you are supposed to take a decision on employee's confirmation, like that, an alert. So any alerts to be triggered, or any we have a portlet where employee documents can be maintained. We have a portlet called work permits. I'll show you that. Work permits as a portlet where employee visa details, any passport details, such kind of things can be maintained. Let's see if it's available or it's not there. Let me just look at. Yeah, work permit info. So this is a portlet where every countries, say if you are US, H1B visa. If you speak about Malaysia, some other employment visas. In Saudi they call Ikama. In Singapore they call employment pass. Like that. Say if your organization is Singapore organization, I choose country as Singapore. Singapore specific, what are the document types? Employment pass, you get this driving license, employment pass, like this, some documents will be there. So employment pass is one kind of a work permit in Singapore. So that the document number, like a visa number kind of document number, or the date on which employment pass is given, issuing authority, expiry of your employment pass, either it is expiring in a month or 6 months or 2 years, kind of a validity of visa, we can store it. So 15 days before the expiry date, you want an alert to be triggered to the users, some HR admin in the company or reporting manager of the employee saying this, the employee's visa is going to expire in 15 days, renew it, kind of. So for that purposes, we'll have a rules that can be written and assigned with save alert at a portlet level. Okay, so that is what we'll look in our tomorrow means next Monday session, guys. So that is one last example of business rule that we can see using save alert as an event type also. Okay. Any questions?
Will we also see how emails are triggered?
Sorry?
How emails are triggered? I mean, let's say an email needs to be triggered to all the employees who have completed 5 years into the organization.
Definitely. Alert on the save alert concept. We'll see how, say, if I want to make an alert to HR or anybody, even employee himself has to be getting notification, anything, how that email can be, body can be configured, how it will reach to the user. We'll see that. Okay.
In those cases, this rule needs to be executed into the background.
Exactly. So there is a background job also connected with this event type. There will be a background job, standard job. We just have to schedule it to run once in every 24 hours. So when that background job is triggered, system will check in the system wherever there are any rules assigned with save alert as an event type. Against any portlet, if there is a rule connected with save alert as an event type, it will trigger all that rules in the background. So as per that logic in the rule, what are the notifications to be sent to whomever, it will trigger all the emails. Okay. Any other queries, gentlemen?
Yeah, Rupaya,
Yeah.
this on initialization, that is on INET, I just saw that when you added a new employee, there was a higher date. Even that is coming on from on INET?
You can go and check. It can be something rule that SF standard might be giving, or it can be some framework level behavior. If the rule is there, okay. If rule is not found, that means it's a framework level behavior. So there can be something which will not be rule based internally in our success factors framework level also. So there will be something automatically made on the system. So you can go for the hire rate, right? Hire rate is not job info. It will be in the employment details, employment info. So here you have the employee start date, hire date. So here in this portlet, there is no rule, no one view anything. That's a framework level behavior.
Okay.
Yeah.
And secondly, I just missed it. You just showed one example of hiding that car benefit. Yeah. So, what if I want to hide it for others and I want it to be visible for HR on view? Is
If
it
condition
possible?
in the in the if condition you write all your conditions. How do you want to identify the HR? So whatever is your condition, how can I identify the HR? You keep that logic in the if condition, so that only for HR it others it not be visible. Such kind of things. It's anything you need a logic that you can keep in the if condition. So customer has to tell you the logic. How can you identify is a HR or not something? So there should be anything in a field level in the employee, any of the portlet of the employee saying that this is he is a HR. There should be some indicator for you to write a condition. Okay.
Right.
Right. System can't just see this guy is a HR. So you should have some kind of a field which says this guy is HR. Keep a condition on that field. If that field is equal to HR, then visibility should be normally visible. If it's not that, keep visibility equal to none. So for other people it will not appear. For other people appear.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any others, guys? Fine, gentlemen. So that's all for now. So we shall again connect back same time on next Monday. Okay, keep practicing different rules, similar logics. Whatever portlet I've taken one field, in the same portlet I take another field. Now I've taken a rule on middle name field. You take it on last name field and try to auto populate it. Okay, so like that, you can come up with your own requirements. Even in the exercises sheet, I've given a couple of examples on this, how you can practice. You can do that. Fine, guys. That's all for now. Have a nice evening. Have a nice weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.